That's not happening. The engagement scandal that shook Teyana Taylor and Aaron Embarrasses's story began the way so many celebrity scandals do, with whispers that at first seemed too outrageous to believe. At the start, no one wanted to take it seriously. It felt too cruel to raw, almost like the kind of dramatic twist you'd only expect in a messy reality show. But as the whispers grew louder, more voices repeated the same details, and gossip blogs began dropping hints, it became impossible to ignore. The center of this storm was Teyana Taylor, a woman who for years had embodied strength, creativity, and resilience. According to multiple reports, she had taken a rare moment of vulnerability with her partner, actor Pierre. She floated the idea of an engagement, perhaps hoping for a gesture of love, security, and lasting commitment. But instead of romance, instead of tenderness, instead of the dreamy, cinematic response fans might expect, what she received was a laugh, not a nervous chuckle, not a gentle deflection. Witnesses described it as a short, sharp laugh, the kind that stings more deeply than words ever could. And then came the phrase that ricocheted across social media like a thunderclap: "That's not happening." On its own, the moment would have been devastating enough, a woman bearing her heart, only to be dismissed in a way that felt humiliating. But what made it worse was that this wasn't confined to private walls. Within hours, word had spread, blogs had picked it up, and suddenly the entire internet was dissecting a moment that should have belonged only to them. What was supposed to be an intimate, vulnerable exchange became fuel for endless debates, viral hashtags, and brutal memes. People asked, what does it mean when someone laughs at your vulnerability? Was Aaron being cruel? Was he being brutally honest? Or was his reaction misunderstood, more about discomfort than about her worth? To understand why this moment carried so much weight, we have to look back at how the relationship came to be. Teyana Taylor has always been seen as a powerhouse. From the moment she stepped into the spotlight, she built her reputation on fearlessness, whether as a singer, dancer, actress, or director. Fans admired her for her edge, her grit, and her ability to reinvent herself. Yet behind the spotlight, she carried scars. Her marriage to NBA player Iman Shumpert was once considered one of Hollywood's rare success stories. They seemed inseparable, balancing fame, family, and love. But cracks appeared. Rumors of infidelity, miscommunication, and tension eventually tore them apart. By the time the marriage ended, Teyana was bruised by heartbreak, and not in private, her pain was laid bare for the world to witness. Fans who had celebrated her marriage now speculated about its downfall, and every move forward was scrutinized. So when she began seeing Aaron Pierre, the relationship carried more weight than most. To fans, Aaron represented a new chapter. He was younger, less jaded by fame, and not weighed down by public scandal. At first, their relationship unfolded quietly, with no over-the-top announcements, just whispers and sightings that eventually turned into confirmation. For a while, it seemed like Teyana had found joy again. Their chemistry looked effortless, their smiles genuine, and their presence together reminded fans of Teyana carefree in a way she hadn't seemed in years. But beneath the surface, there were unspoken tensions. Teyana, scarred by her past, longed for stability. With children to raise, a household to run, and a legacy to protect, she had little interest in undefined futures. Aaron, however, was on the rise. His career was gaining momentum, his ambitions expanding, and he wasn't ready to take on the permanent role of husband and father the world and perhaps Teyana herself expected. They loved each other, but they lived on two different timelines. That's why the engagement conversation mattered so much. For Teyana, it wasn't just about a ring or a wedding. It was about clarity. It was her way of asking, are we building something together, or am I wasting my time? For her, it symbolized certainty after years of chaos. But for Aaron, the idea of engagement carried a weight he wasn't ready to bear. To him, it meant permanence, responsibility, and expectations he wasn't prepared to accept. So when Teyana asked, hoping for reassurance. What she received instead was laughter and the cold phrase, "That's not happening." Witnesses say Teyana froze. For someone who had risked her pride by even raising the subject, the dismissive reaction felt like a slap in the face. Almost instantly, the internet latched onto the moment. Hashtags trended, memes circulated. TikTok edits repeated the phrase over and over, often mocking Teyana's vulnerability. Some painted her as desperate, begging for love that wasn't meant for her. Others rushed to her defense, calling Erin cruel and immature for humiliating her when she was most exposed. The debates raged. Was Erin wrong for laughing? Was he simply being honest instead of stringing her along? Could he have delivered the truth with compassion? Some argued he had every right to reject marriage if he wasn't ready, while others insisted that kindness matters, especially when someone bears their soul. Meanwhile, fans scoured Teyana's social media, finding cryptic posts about knowing your worth and not forcing love. Though she never mentioned Erin, the subtext was clear. She had been hurt. Erin, in contrast, stayed silent, no denial, no confirmation, just silence that allowed speculation to thrive. What made the story so explosive wasn't just the rejection itself. It was the history both of them carried. For Teyana, marriage was tied to her past with Iman, the heartbreak of watching a relationship unravel in public, and her desire for stability. For Erin, rejecting the idea wasn't just about her, it was about protecting his own freedom and identity at a critical point in his career. Their differences, once manageable, became impossible to ignore. Industry insiders fueled the fire, claiming Erin was never serious about Teyana or that she was trying to move too fast. Some said he enjoyed the visibility she gave him, but never intended to commit. Meanwhile, Teyana's family reportedly encouraged her to step back and protect her peace, reminding her that her children and legacy were more important than chasing love that didn't pour back into her. Still, not everyone saw Erin as cruel. Some argued the laugh was nervous, not mocking that maybe he was caught off guard and simply didn't know how to respond. Could it be that the viral narrative was harsher than the reality? Only Teyana and Erin truly know what that moment meant. What's undeniable is the ripple effect. This scandal became bigger than the two of them. It struck a chord because it felt personal. Beneath the celebrity spotlight, it echoed something deeply human, the pain of realizing someone you love doesn't share the same vision of the future. That's why people couldn't look away. It wasn't just about Teyana Taylor and Aaron Pierre. It was about all of us, about the universal fear of rejection when we expose our deepest desires. For Teyana, this may be the moment she decides to walk away, rebuild again, and guard her peace. For Aaron, it may be a lesson about the weight words carry, especially when spoken in vulnerable moments. Or perhaps in time, they'll reconcile, chalking it up to miscommunication. But for now, the damage is real. The phrase "that's not happening" will remain etched as one of the most painful chapters of their story. Whether you see Aaron's reaction as cruel honesty or nervous deflection, one truth remains: heartbreak cuts just as deeply in the spotlight as it does in private. Fame doesn't shield anyone from rejection, and sometimes 3 simple words "that's not happening" can break everything.